Good evening, or if you are and listening to it, good afternoon, whatever. This is Joe, and with
Mhm.
me tonight is Keith. How you doing, Keith?
How's it going, Joe?
Very good. This is another segment of Secret Orders of Mint Condition, and this is our, I guess, Keith, 5 months. It's been 5 months since DC All-In started because it started back
Yes.
in
Yep.
yeah. So I think this is our second, peek back in, look back in, update, as you will, to see how these books are doing. And I jotted down some things here like what books we like, what books we dropped, what books we checked out for the first time, and what books we are going to go back to because there's a book I want to go back to after reading all and stuff. So, without further ado, we'll start off. Keith, how do you want to start off? You want to do an overview first or book by book? What were you
I
thinking?
think book by book, I feel like I feel, in my opinion, at least, I think it's kind of obvious to go with Absolute Batman first because I think that's the book, not only for DC All In, but I think it's probably the big book in the industry right now. Has been for all 5 issues.
I think is it outselling Transformers?
I
Do
think
we
it's
know?
been number one
Okay,
for the majority of it, like being published.
because that I think that was the number one book before Absolute Batman came along. Was
Yeah.
Transformers? Yeah.
Yeah.
Good, good. I'm enjoying it. I like it. I
Yeah.
think
I
it's
think
different. I
it's
think goofy and nutty and a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a combination. It's crazy. It's so over the top crazy, but at the same time, it's got tons of heart, and at the
Hmm.
same time, it's got like really smart moments. It's just like, you know, you can't really like nail it down to one thing. It's definitely over the top. I've said this before. I think a lot of us have said it before. I did not think I liked this book when I just saw like the images and what they were like saying about it.
Me too.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Well, we want to come back around to Absolute Batman. Do you want to talk about? Because I think
Yeah,
you
let's
read.
talk about it. Yeah,
Okay. Did you read number five today? Yeah. Because
yeah, I did.
I haven't read it yet. So what'd you think of it?
Oh yeah, non spoilers, but it was great. It was just high stakes, ups and downs. Like you're glued to it. I can't wait to the next issue. I know I'll read it again once or twice before the next one comes out.
Wow.
Um, I haven't read everything Scott Snyder's done, but I've read a lot of it. Especially his mainstream stuff. It's like DC stuff, I should say. I think this is probably his best work. It's so good.
I agree. As I said when we did our wrap up for 2024, that was my book of the year. That was just the first issue. That was the best comic book I think I read in 2024.
I don't blame it. It's really good. I mean, it's just great book. I mean, I've had other stuff I liked more, I guess, like last year, but I think it's definitely the best book I think being published. Which is saying something because I really love the Ghost Machine books.
I love them too, but I do have a new uh, favorite book for 2025. We'll get to that. That's on my list. I rated my books, folks. Letter grades, and there's only one book on my list that gets an A plus, and I bet Keith knows what that book is. I wouldn't be surprised if he knows what that book is. But we'll get to that.
For
Um,
2025 or 20
yeah,
or
there's been four issues so far. Well, there's been two in 2024 and two in this month. So, but right now, of all the DC All-In books, I only have one. I've only given one book an A plus. You could think about that. And I think you probably
yeah.
figure out what
I'm
book
doing
that.
the math and I'm like trying to.
So let's see now. You mentioned Ghost Machine, but this is a DC All-In. But I'm reading Ghost Machine. I'm enjoying Ghost Machine. There are books from Mad Cave that I like. I think we're both reading Flash Gordon by Jeremy Adams, so we like that. So we just want this is a DC All-In, but let's we want our
Oh
folks to know that we are reading other things, and we think that if you're just a DC guy or a Marvel guy, if you're a Marvel guy, there's nothing to read. But if you're a DC guy, there are other things out there that are very very good. And you should give them
yeah,
a
and
shot.
I totally know what book you're talking about now. It just hit me because it is. Honestly, it is.
It's
It's
a DC book.
fantastic. And I don't know how I forgot that. It's definitely my favorite of the main DC books that like aren't in the Absolute universe. Yeah, I just
Okay, let's
yeah
see.
yeah no I totally get it. And now that you bring it up, it is kind of like neck and neck for me with the Absolute Batman book.
Interesting. Okay, so let's. You want to dive right into. Let's see. How about JLU? What are you thinking about JLU?
Yeah,
It,
I love the book. I think it's definitely the art
Carl's
is
number three.
gorgeous.
Yep.
That's number three. Yeah, it's great.
Hmm.
Dan Moore's art is fantastic. I think that Wade, of course, gets those character voices really good, and this makes really has really good moments. So far, it's not as good as I think his first JLA run. When he took over from Grant Morrison. Um, but I mean, the bar was pretty high with that. But
Yeah.
I'm optimistic that it's just going to get better. But it's definitely it's a great book. What do you think?
I think it's a very good book, but I think we discussed this offline, I think in texting. I think right now it's kind of almost too big. And I think at some point he's going to have to like drill down and drill in and maybe do an arc, a 2 or 3 issue arc with maybe just 5 or 6 members, the big guns, so to speak. Um, but you're right about him having the voices of all the characters because that's what Mark Waid does so well. He knows these characters like the back of his hand, and they sound and act like they're supposed to in their iconic iterations. So I give him credit for that. I give him kudos for that. And yes, the Dan Mora art. My God, it's uh, who's coloring him? Is it the same guy that was coloring him?
Bonavilla, I think.
Yeah. Where is he? Yeah, Bond Villain. Bond Villain.
Yeah, Bonavilla. Yeah,
That's a good name. So yeah. So as I said at the opening, I'm going to grade all these books, and I'm going to give this book a B plus, not an A yet, but it's going towards a B plus to an A minus. I just want to see a little more focus. I know I think we learned a little bit something about the Inferno group last issue in issue 3, and I think we're going to see more of them in issue 4, the main villains of the piece. Obviously, what's going on with Airwave, right? We need to find out about that.
Yeah, that I'm really curious about.
That's an intriguing subplot. I will say this about the book: Wade understands subplots, and he weaves them in, and I'm sure he'll pay them off. He's not. He's not. I almost misspoke. He's not Tom Taylor, who takes a long time, and God help us all, he's not Tom King, who never ties anything up. Yeah. So
I feel like this the thing is I'm hoping it's just because it's the first arc and he's introducing the concept of his huge league, because it does feel like no one's getting a lot of attention. It's just a lot of just it's like really spread out. So I'm hoping that after the first arc, it focuses more on just like a few characters at a time, or at least if it has a bunch of characters, it's still like a focal point.
Mhm.
1, 2 characters, 3 characters, where you really feel like you're getting some great character moments. Um, and other than that, though, I will say back to the art. I really love how I hate to call it like costume or character redesign, but there's this something that Dan Mora does to the characters. He did it in World's Finest, did it in Shazam. There's like a subtle redesign, or he did the even though he didn't draw the book, he did the redesign for the Teen Titans in that.
That Batman at the
Oh
bottom.
my God, yeah, there's something so good.
Wade explained it in one of his many interviews that Dan Mora can take a character and make him look fresh, but still make him look iconic. Now I'm paraphrasing Mark Wade. I'm sorry, Mark, if I didn't get that right, but I think that was the gist of it, and I think that's what you're saying here too. It's like, yeah, it looks like it's supposed to, but it also looks like, wow, this is like a nice fresh take on it. At the same time.
It's modern-ish, but it's not like yeah, I feel like he gets it. I was thinking about funny. I was thinking about this earlier today when I was on the way home on the train. I was just thinking of one thing I could tell modern artists like that I can't stand is like those stupid lines that have no purpose in a suit. Like they do it to like everyone, but like the Flash costume has it. Like God, the whole like Teen Titans from the New 52 had them, but they're everywhere. Like there's like lines that make no sense. And like Dan Mora will do something where if he has like lines like is this showing it makes sense. It's like the stitching on his suit. Like it is practical to the costume. And that actually I like that because it makes it look a little more real, but not that like over the top like realism look. I love that he does. He did it with Shazam. He did it with Kid Flash. He did it with Batman, and so many other Airwave. There's something about those suits. I'm like, oh, it's the same. But it's fresh. It's it really more artists could take a beat, I think, from that instead of just overcomplicate. Have you seen? And this keeps in line with the All In. Have you seen like the Wally West costume in the Spurrier run now? It makes no sense. It's just random lines everywhere and lights and little little circles on his on his hands, like on his knuckles. It just makes no sense. I mean, I
Yeah,
feel like it's over complicating it and try. It's almost reminds me of like some stuff in the '90s when they had like the X-Men with all those pockets and stuff like that. Because you
the
know,
pockets and the epaulets and the leather jackets over the costume.
it
Yeah,
makes no
too
sense.
much.
Like
It's too much.
you can redo things so well. Like look at the Spurrier thing. Someone posted on Twitter today. I saw like an image from the Impulse comic that I remember. I just haven't thought of it in a while. When like future Bart came back to the past to team up with Bart for like an issue or two, and I think it was Todd DeZago or someone who I forgot who like maybe it was someone else. No, he was the writer. I'm sorry. I forgot who was drawing the book then, but whoever designed it, it was cool and updated, but it was also at the same time sleek and simple. It didn't have a bunch of random
Hmm.
lines or colors patched in for no reason. It was like practical, but also really cool. You know, I had like a more maroon color, had his hair showing still, and the goggles. But I don't know. Like now, I feel like so many artists, even good artists, you know, because I think Mike Deodato designed that terrible Flash, that terrible Wally costume he has now. I'm just hoping it's temporary because it's like a part of that story where he's like he can make duplicates or something like that. Um, but like I wish Dan Moore, there should be more artists like Dan Mora who just know that like less is more, sleek and simple is better. You can change it. Like we don't mind costume changes, you know, especially when we know that ultimately a lot of times it's going to go back to something resembling the classic. But you know, these like I feel like it's just like they're doing it just to do it, like just crazy lines and colors for no
All
reason.
bells and whistles and smoke and
Yeah.
mirrors. And less is more. Well, that's why. And now you definitely know what my favorite comic book is, A plus, because that artist knows how to give you more with
Always.
a lot less. So
I,
we'll get to that book.
with
That's
his partner that he always teams up with for writing. They're like a dream team together.
yep. So you want to do JSA next since we're on the league books.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So here's the cover of JSA number 3.
Our
Um,
boy Hawkman on the cover. We love both
Hawkman.
love.
I know you're a big Hawkman guy. I am too. I'm enjoying this book. I think it's well, pretty nice page there too. I like this artist. He's starting to grow on me. This is the guy that did the Jay Garrick book, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I'm terrible with names. We're going to try to pronounce his name here. Where are you always have to look for the credits. No, they're in the back. Diego, that's easy. Ola Vitegu. I'm sorry if I, Mr. Diego, if I pronounced that incorrectly, but I'm enjoying that book. I like Hawkman. I like Hawkman being back. I like that Beth is now grown up and she's the new Dr. Light. I like her character. I like seeing Jade and Obsidian again. I think I think you hinted at when we were speaking of a camera about Obsidian. You want to expound upon that?
I love Obsidian and I love the relationship with him and Jade. I love Obsidian's his first of all visually. I think he's got a great costume,
Hmm.
and I love shadow characters like the Shade or oh god who's why am I blanking on Hawkman's shadow character oh god
Shadow Thief.
yes
Yeah. Okay. Shadow.
I love the the concept and I love visually there's just so much you could do with that, especially
Hmm.
the Shade. It was so oh my god like the little like monsters he would make and how he could just like slip in and out of a scene. I don't even mean story wise. I mean it's like how an artist can draw that. It's very cool. So I love Obsidian. I also like the fact that the shadow powers have taken over him a couple times, so he's gone bad and then become good, and he's probably battling that, and then like I'm sure there's like guilt from that. I always love when he's used. And I don't know. There's something about too like a brother sister superhero team.
Oh
I
yeah.
like that.
And Obsidian is literally a walking metaphor for the battle of dark and evil within all of us. So I think that's why he's people can gravitate to that character because
So cool.
you understand
And
what's
he
going on.
attached to the the first Green Lantern, so we love that. I love Alan
Yeah,
Scott.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So yes.
I hope they'll explore more like their family and stuff like that. I love Jeff Johns' JSA run. I love it. I love like every issue and even the recent stuff that some people didn't love as much. I love it all. I think really gets those characters. I adore like that run, especially like the first run, like with him and James Robinson and Peter Tomasi out of there. Like, and
Mm,
I always forget the guy David Goyer who
right.
co-wrote those Batman movies. Um, I love that run, but I'm really glad that we're getting a little bit of a rest from like all the newer JSAers, and we're getting the original team and the Infinity Inc. guys because
Yeah.
like it's been too long. Like those guys have been in limbo. They're great characters, and much as I love like new characters being introduced, but that last run he did, and then I love the Stargirl mini, but I'm like new characters. I'm like go back to the ones that we don't. I don't get to see Hawkman that much,
Yeah.
or
Well,
Obsidian, or God, I don't know, like Wildcat, or his son, and all that. Like I want to see some of those. So I'm glad Jeff Lemire is kind of focusing on. It seems like he has a real affinity for Infinity Inc.
like that. Okay. Yeah. I gave that book a B plus also.
Yeah, I'm not
Um,
loving the book as much, but I'm sticking with it.
yeah. Oh, I'm definitely sticking with it. Um,
I don't know. I'm not a huge. I think the artist was okay on the Jay Garrick book, but you know, Jay says a tough, not always a big seller. Like Jeff
mhm.
Johns kept it there because he was Jeff Johns, but so I worry when they don't put like top tier talent on on certain characters I love because I just worry that they'll either be canceled or it won't sell as well, and then they'll let some other writer come in and think, oh, let's do shock and awe and this kill characters or something.
Yeah. God forbid. No, we don't need that. I agree.
But I'll stick with it. I love Jeff Lemire. I love his Animal Man. I love Sweet Tooth and a bunch of his other independent stuff. Underwater Welder, Essex County. His Green Arrow run that was short was so good.
Oh
Um,
yes. Yeah.
wow, who was that artist with him?
Oh boy. That was it. Was that during the New 52?
Yeah, it was right. It wasn't the first run. It was like
Yeah.
it
The
was. It
first one
was
was terrible. Yeah.
yeah.
That was an Italian artist whose name escapes me right now. But
No,
that was
Sorrentino's not.
yes, Sorrentino. I'm assuming it's
Andrea
Italian.
Sorrentino.
Yeah, I think he's yes. Yeah, that was the best. That was the best run of Green Arrow. Obviously, in the New 52, and that
What
was
if that's collected like in a nice like a Just Lemire edition? I would like to get that.
was it about 10 issues? Was it? It was less than a dozen. It was
Wasn't
less
that
than a dozen.
much?
Yeah,
I'm
maybe not.
hope yeah. I'll let it segue a little bit into more all in. I'm hoping Jeff brings some of that fire to his Absolute Flash run because
Okay.
his Green Arrow was great. The artist on Absolute Flash, Nick Robles, seeing his interior stuff in that first cover, he does some great work. It looks like I love the concept. Teenage Wally West gets his powers. He's the Flash. There's no Flash before him ever. Barry Allen exists in that world, but like he could just be a powerless guy who he could be a friend of the family. He could be nothing to him. You don't know.
Hmm.
I love the idea of like, we saw Wally like in the Mike Barron and the Messner Loebs days, like be the only Flash and essentially kind of be alone a lot, really, because he had issues where he was like, sometimes isolated by things that happened, and sometimes those things were his own personality. But
Mm.
we've never seen him as a kid, and we never seen him. At least we always knew he was raised by like Barry and Jay essentially in like a superhero sense, and Iris in like another sense. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what
Yeah,
that character looks like, without kind of like the lead from them. I mean, it's
yeah,
obviously
without
goes right
Barry
to
and Iris.
heroics, which is great because that's who he is at his core. But the other stuff, I just would like to see. And I feel like I thought this before anyone even said it, like or Jeff Lemire even said it, but I feel like it's gonna hopefully be like the Ultimate Spider-Man of the Absolute Universe.
I don't know if it is.
I mean, the
The
original Ultimate Spider-Man.
usual, yeah, right, yeah. The Bendis
Yeah,
Bagley Spider-Man, yeah, definitely. Oh, it's that, yeah, fantastic. Let's see, moving on. Are you reading this book right now, Superman?
I'm not actually.
Okay, I would recommend it. Um, this is by Joshua Williamson and it's by Dan Mora. See if I can find a nice little. It's not Bon Villain though, who's doing the.
Is that the Bond villain?
No, it's colorist is Alejandro Sanchez.
Oh, okay,
So
all right.
it's lighter, and I think it's lighter because it's Superman, and it should be lighter. but
definitely.
there's some dark. He's right now. He's battling Doomsday and the Time Trapper. I think he's leaving the book soon, Mister Mora. But I think Williamson is going to be sticking around for the reboot, the number one that's coming, I think, in the fall.
Really?
But yeah, here's
Hmm.
a nice. That's a nice page.
Oh,
Superman,
gorgeous.
gorgeous
Yeah, I
stuff.
do love the colors. I do love
Yeah,
the, yeah. I
it's a good
mean,
book.
oh man, I want
It's a very good book, actually.
when I went to pick up the Absolute Batmans today, they had one of those, those little previews, like the paper previews of the comics that are coming out. It was the like preview of the Summer of Superman stuff, which I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be buying some of it. It looks, I'm excited. I'm excited for like a lot of Superman stuff. I'm hoping it just like spreads like wildfire. We have, listen, I don't know if we'll ever have like, like the Batman '89 or how the Avengers like Infinity War Endgame stuff like that vibe for like a summer, but I'm hoping it's a big Superman summer. I want to see T-shirts everywhere. I want to see. They better put a lot of comic books for Superman on the stands, and I hope they collect some stuff that hasn't been collected. But I
Yeah.
saw like one story or one issue is going to be like Clark Kent Superboy with Crypto and Smallville back in the day. I'm like, I'm buying whatever that is.
That's an interesting thing you just mentioned about collecting things. We've talked about this in the past that on the DC Infinite Universe app, there's not much Silver Age Superman on that app, and
Yeah.
this movie that's coming out by James Gunn, he has referenced. He said this is going to be the first Silver Age Superman on the screen, on the big screen, in tone, not taking place in the '60s, obviously. So I'm hoping that in synergy, they'll maybe put out a couple of trades or omnibuses. They did a Superman omnibus volume one, came out last year, and it's Silver Age. So maybe volume two will come out in time for the movie. But we need to have more Silver Age Superman available to the public because you're going to get that way. You're going to get a lot of Kurt Swan artwork, and you can't go wrong with Kurt Swan artwork. But this book, I'm giving this book an A minus.
Oh, is that okay?
Yes, and on the strength of more, but I think that Williamson has found his niche with Superman. I think I know he's doing great work over there at Sky. Is it Skybound?
Yes.
The Energon universe, and he's able to build that universe. But whenever they give him a big event at DC, we know what happens, right? We've seen a few of those. So keep him away from those things. This is big enough. Superman's big enough. This is an event if he's written correctly. So I'm enjoying this book a lot. It's been a while since I've been enjoying Superman. Uh,
It's good. Now listen, I'm not really a big fan of Williamson, but I like his Green Arrow like a little bit when the first 6 issues I read.
I think the first 12 are very good. We'll get to Green Arrow soon. There's a new writer and artist on that. One more Superman book before we get to that A plus. Action Comics.
This I'm
Now
gonna
this
get. I'm gonna
this
get.
is this is 1081, the final chapter in the weekly series that was 12 issues. It's the whole Mark Wade and Clayton Henry Phantom Zone storyline. It would probably didn't need 12 issues. Maybe could have done an 8, but it was a decent story. I enjoyed it. Unfortunately, what came before and what came right after is not good. I'm not even reading the John Ridley's run. And the last run in action before they get rid of the Superstars Initiative, I think it's G. Willow Wilson, and that doesn't sound too promising, so I didn't order those. So I would have given this book a higher grade, but because of what preceded it and what coming after it, I gave it a C. Sorry, Mark. It's really not your fault. You just fell in with the wrong crowd. But this is an enjoyable story, and I'm sure DC will put this in a trade or a couple of trades.
I'm sure. Yeah,
I
yeah.
would recommend this story to anybody like Superman.
I'll
Stay away from
definitely
the
get
other
that. That I'm gonna get.
stay away from the other action stuff, unless you go back to the Philip Kennedy Johnson stuff. That was good stuff, and the stuff that comes after this. But yeah, it's a decent book. And now, Keith, what is my A plus book?
Oh yeah, it is Batman and Robin Year One by Mark Waid and Chris Samney. Beautiful
What a
cover.
beautiful cover and a just incredible comic book. I love this. I love Robin saving Batman, dumping it and
Oh,
driving it
uh,
the river.
it just
It's
like
it's so
well, it's like
simple, but it's
I find it kind of odd that not that it matters at all, but I find it kind of odd that they didn't put it on like the world's finest umbrella, like the Teen Titans book was,
yeah,
like you know,
exactly.
because it's I mean it's in that world.
That top, the bats on
Oh,
top page there. Yeah, this is using less to tell more. And this is the Batman I like, who comes out of the shadows and then melts back in. And the writing is just incredible. I mean, I think it's the best thing Wade has written in years. I really do.
Yeah, that's saying something because he's with World's Finest, especially and Shazam, like he's been on fire, like for the
Mhm.
last like couple of years. Like World's Finest, it's not quite as good with Dan Morrigan, but that book has just been it's great. It's such a great book. I hope
It's
hope he
beautiful.
does that for a very long time. Um, and I know I've told you this before, but like I loved. I'm not a huge Shazam fan, but Captain Marvel fan. I have to even say Shazam. Um, but I thought his run with Dan Moore on Shazam was like the best thing he's done in a year. I love it. I love that book so much, and it kills me that he left it to Absolute Power.
Yeah, it was 9 issues, I believe he did. Yeah,
Yeah, it was so good. It was so
yeah, I
good. The
dropped it.
dinosaurs and all that. Like I loved it.
I
Oh,
had no compunction to read that book after he left. I
oh, I
said,
didn't
no,
even try. I didn't even try. I
no.
didn't even delude myself into no. He was gone. That was it. I mean, and they were gone. And it was funny. I know we talked about before, and I forget exactly. I feel like I feel like I could be messing this up, but I feel like the difference in the art on those two books was I think Dan Moore inked himself maybe on Shazam, and he didn't on World's Finest, and both are beautiful, but it was
Mhm,
different. It was interesting.
mhm, yeah, no, it was. I agree. Yeah, if it wasn't inking himself, he had a different colorist. So yeah,
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it
he
was
did have a different look. Yes,
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, obviously they're both gorgeous. It's in a different way, but those those.
But year one, Batman and Robin year one, I like this because this is Dick Grayson.
Yes.
As far as
Is that number
for
four or five?
this is number four. Yeah, and we get to see Dick Grayson shortly after his parents are murdered, and he's taken in. And I like the social worker that keeps dropping by.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So Alfred and Bruce get, how are we going to deal with this woman? But you get to see, the trials and tribulations that this young man is going through, not only being Batman's sidekick, but trying to get on with his life, with his parents recently being murdered and being assassinated. So
Gonna be
he's
12 issues is gonna be too. That's exciting. He's doing like
mhm.
they're both doing a nice long
He's letting it
maxi.
breathe. Yeah, he's letting it
Yeah,
breathe.
instead of just like a hit and run like Teen Titans. Like I feel like there's a real appetite for it too. I mean, like you don't get a lot of you don't get a lot of young Dick Grayson Robin stories anyway. Then if you do, you don't typically get them that well written. And he really gets Dick Grayson a lot. Mark, I love the World's Finest issue with him and Supergirl and the date.
Oh, that was great. It was hysterical. And speaking of World's Finest, you brought it up already. Here it is. This is number 35, and this is by Wade and Gutierrez. What is his first name? Again, you really have to hunt for the credits in these books. I mean, it used to be on the first page or the second page back in the day. Now it's
Even on
like
the cover, it's often really small.
Adrian Gutierrez. Okay, yeah. But and I this is a favorite. I really enjoyed this issue because it's got my guy there, Aquaman, right there.
Yep.
Anytime Aquaman is in a book, I am pleasantly surprised, and I
I
want to
always
read
thought
more.
about that too, and I could be totally wrong, but the fact that that came out the same month or around the same month that the Aquaman ongoing started, I remember when Wade was doing Brave and the Bold back then, that with George Perez, which is an amazing book. He had said he was like he purposely picked characters that were kind of like either just getting a new book or they had plans to do something like cool with, which is why he had like Blue Beetle in number two, and yet I forgot who else, but like while he just came back, we put him in there with the Doom Patrol. Green Lantern Hal was like the hugest thing at that point. So like it was like very strategic. So I wonder. I don't know. My first thought was like, oh, I wonder if he did that to kind of give a little boost to Jeremy Adams, number one.
Well, I think he did, and you know what? They should make Mark Wade the marketing director beside the EIC of this
Yeah,
company. Maybe just
yeah.
kick out Jim Lee and make him the publisher, because he's got an affinity for all aspects of the business, obviously.
I feel like
And
they
you
should have
just
Dan
mentioned,
Moore to be the costume designer for
yeah.
anyone who needs new costumes.
When I got these books last month, I got these three books all at once. I got the aforementioned 35, Batman Robin for World's Finest, and then we'll talk about this book next, Aquaman number one, and then I got this, my very first DC Finest
Oh, nice,
Aquaman.
nice.
This is cool. I'm loving it. This has got all this great Ramon and Fraden artwork, these little tiny stories back in the day in Adventure Comics. So I'm really enjoying this. But yeah, I think Wade, he's got the whole universe in his head. Obviously, he's strategically placing everything, and it looks like it's working very well.
This is the best time to be a DC fan in a very long time, and it has been really good for like since like 2021, 22. But there was a dark time there
Oh
for a
yeah.
while. I wasn't reading anything DC. I'd pop in once in a while, but would never, never like really got into anything at all. But it's been great. I haven't been buying this many freaking comics in a while. It's a good thing and a bad thing.
Yeah, I just added
Um,
it up. There's 17 DC books I'm buying on a monthly basis.
yeah, you remember when you and I were talking and like from 20, yeah, I say even like 18 to like during COVID, like there were times we were talking about like, you know what, maybe just uh just buy back issues or like
Hmm.
nothing new. We didn't really enjoy much new at all. Occasionally something here and there. So it's definitely a really good time. They're still stumbling here and there, but
Hmm.
they have enough reason to get me to to run to the store.
Yeah, have you read Aquaman yet?
Not yet, not yet.
Okay, I gave Aquaman fittingly an A.
I'm definitely I'll
Excellent.
probably read that tonight actually.
It's got. I'm not going to give away the ending, but it's got a jaw dropping ending, and looks like a status quo change. I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, I
But
love Jeremy Adams. I have to
yes.
read that tonight. That I really want to read.
Well, when you just mentioned the dark days of we weren't reading much, one of the first books we glommed onto was Jeremy Adams' Flash, right?
Yep.
And I think that's what got our juices flowing in to start reading some of these books because, oh, okay, look, DC can actually put out a good book now if they put it in the hands of a competent. Jerry's more than competent. I think he's the best writer in mainstream comic book today.
He's the best new writer, definitely. I
Yeah.
mean, he's got like that enthusiasm,
Hmm.
it comes through every page in a very different way. But Jeff Johns had that when he first started that, and he still does, honestly.
Yeah.
Um, but like Jeff tends to write a little bit darker, stories. But um, yeah, Adams has that enthusiasm, and it just bleeds through his stories. I love his stuff, and yeah, I'm glad he's getting so much work. I really am.
Yeah. Me too. I just wish he could somehow get back to the Flash.
Me too. I had a feeling about him too. I don't know if I think I told you this when they announced him after Williamson. I mean, obviously I was excited for Wally to come back and get the lead again, but people online were like kind of complaining, "Oh, who's this guy? You got to give him, you got to get Grant Morrison, you got to get Johns back, you got to do this and that." And I was like, you know what? I'm like, not always, but very often when we have like the big guys return, they usually don't. They tend to disappoint. Maybe not always, but they disappoint often. And why I thought it was going to be special. This was just a feeling because there was no interviews or anything, by the way. It was just that one cover art thing, and they mentioned
Hmm.
like a quantum leap kind of story, which other people were kind of like yawning at. But I was like, you know what? Every great Flash writer in the last like 30 years was basically an unknown. Wade was an editor. He
Hmm.
took over and he blew everyone's socks off. No one knew Jeff Johns. He just started doing JSA and he did Sergeant Stripe.
Hmm.
But he was an unknown. No one knew he was. Scott Collins got him the gig on
That's
the book.
amazing.
So I was optimistic. I'm like, you know what? I think he's gonna be. I had a feeling, and the first issue, right at the end of it, I'm like, oh, I knew I liked it. And then the second issue when he did the whole Super Friends thing, I was like, I'm in.
Yeah, he had that interactive issue where you had to, as you're reading
Yeah,
the book, you had to turn it upside down and back, and oh, it was great. It was
there's so much
fantastic.
heart in that book. You could like this. You could feel it.
We've had Jeremy on our program here twice, and we've had a lot of fun with him. As you said, he's very enthusiastic, full of energy, and full of so many ideas. And hope we get him back again to talk
I
about,
hope so. Yeah,
especially
I would love to
Aquaman.
hear
Yeah,
more.
definitely. Yeah.
And now he's got
Uh,
so much out there. Flash. I'd love to talk to you about Flash Gordon. Like that's probably my
mm,
favorite book of his right now.
Flash Gordon. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I just love that world anyway. But then, yeah, Jeremy Adams, it's like a fun adventure book. I know, but it's not DC, so I digress.
Yeah, yeah. There you go. This is my favorite book of his right now, and that's Green Lantern.
Hmm.
This is Green Lantern. This is a special Fractured Spectrum. I think this was delayed a week, so I didn't get Green Lantern number 19 on my last month's order. So that's probably I saw it's in my DCBS bin right now, and it'll ship at the end of the month.
His
But
Green Lantern Corps came out today.
that came out today. Oh, that's right. Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's it. I saw that they already placed it in my cart, so to speak. So yeah, that came
Fernando
out today.
Passerin on that book. That's great.
Oh wow, yeah, I love Passerin's artwork. And again, I give this book an A also. Well, there's not, the series. I give this Jeremy's Green Lantern. You know, we've talked about Green Lantern before, and you mentioned Grant Morrison. When Grant Morrison did Green Lantern a few years ago, I bought those first 12 issues. I read them, and then they did another 12 issue run. And I think I only bought 2 or 3 because I said, I don't know what the hell I read the first time. I'm not going to continue with this. I think Liam Sharp did the artwork, and it looked really cool, but it was so weird. And I just don't. And Jeremy comes in and he cleans up the mess that they made of the Green Lantern Corps, starting with Mr. Morrison, and then I think
Jeffrey Thorne.
Thank you, Jeffrey Thorne, when he just destroyed everything. And Jeremy puts the pieces back together. He starts slowly. He starts with Hal and Carol, and he builds up to it. And that story just ended, and now obviously we're going to be getting this new story, the fractured spectrum. So I can't wait to read that. In the opening, I mentioned that there are some books that I came back to. Were there any books that you had dropped or hadn't read in years that you came back to because of DC All-In?
Well, I dropped a lot. I really wasn't reading it. Flash
Probably the
got
whole
me
thing,
back
yeah.
in with Adams, but from 2014 to 2021, yeah, 2021 when Adams took over, I would pop in here and there, and nothing really. Oh, I was reading World's Finest though, but that's
Yeah.
what never really got me back in to buying anything monthly on a monthly basis. But I would pop in. I wasn't reading anything. I gave the New 52 a couple of years a shot, and it wasn't for me. There was some good stuff there, obviously, but it wasn't enough to keep me in there, considering they kind of just erased the history of a lot of characters, and then because
Mm-hmm.
of that, they literally erased characters I loved. So I felt like that connection was gone.
Mm-hmm.
So when
I
the
agree.
stories weren't up to par anymore, I didn't have that emotional connection to stay in. So I really didn't read anything. I would pop in once in a while and read like something, but until World's Finest, then Flash, like everything is kind of a comeback to me. Everything like Green. But as far as All In, I really can't say because most of the stuff All In I'm reading is the Absolute books and JLU, um, and the ones I was reading before that, Green Lantern, Flash.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, none of the other like Titans didn't pull me back in. I gave that a couple issues shot when Tom Taylor took over, but I dropped it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I didn't.
I didn't. Nothing I saw about that book with the new writer really intrigued me. I haven't tried anything else new, Nightwing or anything. I'm looking forward to um, Jim Lee and Loeb's Batman next month.
Oh yeah, we're going to get to Batman 156, the
Oh,
penultimate issue of Zdarsky's run. We'll get to that in a minute. But there is one book that I dropped about a year and a half ago, and that was Detective Comics, the Ram V story that went on forever. I don't know how it ended. I don't care how it ended. I got out, I guess in the beginning of the third act, if you want to call it that. At times, the artwork was incredible. Ivan Reis did a number of issues. It looked really good, but the story was going nowhere. Another deconstruction of Batman again. I picked up the old 1070 was the first, 1090 was the first All-ins, and that's Tom Taylor and Michael Yannon, Detective Comics. And I'm enjoying this. There's a couple of things I'm not crazy about. I can't give it away. There's a great plot point. We talked about it, about the woman that Batman is having an affair with. But Bruce Wayne is anyway. And I'm just like, I don't know, Bruce. That's kind of like maybe a betrayal to your family. But it's a pretty good book. I think Gannon's artwork has taken another step forward. It's not as glossy. It's not as photorealistic as it was. I'm trying to find a page to illustrate that. Well, I like this little right here, Batman on the gargoyle right there. Can you see that?
oh, it's nice.
It's very reminiscent of what's Frank Miller and other artists. So I'm enjoying that book. Give credit where credit is due. I think I could see it though, maybe going too long. Hopefully he'll finish this story in 6 to 8 issues and not go on forever. But that's something I came back to, and I give that book a B right now. And I'm glad I came back to it. But this book, oh God, Batman. There's one more issue to go, 157, and then I think it takes a month hiatus, and then we get the Jim Lee, Jeff Loeb. This gets a solid D. It
Oof.
doesn't get an F, it doesn't get an F because every once in a while we do get some good artwork. This one had Tony Daniel, and of course,
Hmm.
for the bulk of Mr. Zdarsky's run, we had Jorge Jimenez, who until Mora came along was the guy at DC. So I would put them neck and neck.
I didn't know
But
Tony Daniel was still doing DC stuff.
yeah, he's done 2 issues of this book, this run so far. It's pretty good. It's it's typical, right there. Typical Tony
That's
Daniel,
nice.
right? Yeah, it's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, I've always liked Tony Daniel.
But the book is horrible, and so everybody just wait for issue 158. Don't bother buying it.
Hush Part 2.
Hush Part 2. Okay, now there was another book I came back to. No. What else? Do you have anything that
Yeah,
books you want to talk about?
I love Absolute Wonder Woman. For me,
Okay.
it's right up. It's very close to Absolute Batman. There was the first issue I liked more than the first issue of Absolute Batman, which is a compliment to both books. I thought they
Wow.
were great. But right now, Absolute Batman's kind of is beating him. But Absolute Wonder Woman's really good. I love this take on Diana. I like this the vibe that it's her at her core, but this everything's been changed around so much. I love the whole thing with the dynamic with her and her what's her name, Hersey,
Cersei, yeah,
Cersei. I'm sorry. Um,
her
her
surrogate mother.
adoptive mother, and from
Hmm.
Hell. I just love the whole thing, the backstory. I love when they occasionally flash back to when Diana was young, and this how she raised her. It's such a really good book and um, a fun book. I'm not a huge Wonder Woman fan, but I'm really enjoying Absolute Wonder Woman. I think it's great.
Yeah, I read issue 4 today. I'm still enjoying it. I like it for all the reasons you just enumerated. Um, the artist, Howard Sherman, is that right? Is that the
I
artist?
forget the name.
Yeah. I think his stuff works for this book.
Yeah,
It has that fantasy element to it.
totally. Yeah,
So I think it works for that. It's kind of so, and it looks like after this, this issue. Oh, we can't say I can't. Spoil it. I don't want to spoil the issue.
yeah, it's pretty new. Yeah,
Yeah, it's very new, so I was going to say something, but I'm enjoying. I give that book a solid B, and Absolute Batman, I gave it an A. I haven't read number 5 yet. You did. Now number 4, Absolute Batman. That was that fill-in issue, right? But the
oh, so cool. It wasn't really a feeling it. Like it was just more of like a flashback. Scott Snyder called it his year one, basically for this
okay.
version.
I,
Um,
I I like the story. I didn't like the artist, but I did like the
oh, you didn't
story.
like the artist, no? Oh, okay.
But I thought the artist was a little. I don't know. There's at times it looked a little cartoony. I'm not sure what was wrong with it. It didn't work for me, but the story was very good.
Oh, it's so good. I mean, I thought it was done well, like where it was placed. I think it was like relevant to what's going on now, obviously, because it was going back and forth. But
Hmm.
um, yeah, I thought it was a really good issue. Yeah, I mean, I love that book. It's so good.
Yeah, I can't think of the
It's like
guy's name.
everyone's talking about it everywhere.
It wasn't Nick Drake,
Online,
right?
you go to the comic book store. I've been buying copies for some friends. They all like everyone's like in love with that book. It's I'm hoping I'm hoping they don't uh you know flood the absolute universe and do too many things at once. I hope they kind of I know the Martian Manhunter book is a mini series. I hope unless they have a great idea, they keep it at that and just keep it like localized and
Hmm.
I hope they even wait until any of these characters meet. I feel like they shouldn't wait till after at least the first year. You know,
I agree.
I feel
Let
like
them breathe. Let them develop.
yeah,
Let
I feel like
them-
what they do when they instead of doing that, I feel like especially when it's a universe like this where it's like quote unquote they can kind of look at it like it doesn't count. Um, they'll start doing like crazy stuff, which sometimes you can think, oh, that's cool because they're taking big swings, but they take like two big swings, like the New 52 Earth 2. You know, everything would have to be crazy different and destructive, and then they eventually to the point where they destroyed the planet and they had to go look for a new one. I'm like, it was too much. Like this,
Yeah,
I hope they just take their time with it, focus on character driven stories, and you know when these things happen, let them kind of happen a little more naturally, so we can get a nice chunk of time in this world. It's not going to last forever, so you know, if we get like within 2 years, if we already have like not only the crossover with each other, but like with the main universe, that'll be a little disappointing. I don't know.
I thought I read something about the free comic book. That it might be hinting at a crossover.
Hmm.
That they could be so it might be coming sooner than we think. But
Well, I know
hopefully,
they want to wrap up with that. They gotta deal with that Dark Side story, I guess, from DC
yeah,
All In. And poor Booster Gold stuck on that Dark Earth,
exactly. Yes.
Although in the
So
future,
in the future, right? So we got to find out. Got to get
that's I
poor
wonder,
Booster.
I wonder what I haven't really thought about that in a while. I wonder where that's gonna go.
No idea.
Poor
No idea.
Booster, of all characters, stuck in the future with Darkseid and an evil legion of superheroes.
I pity Darkseid.
Yeah,
Booster is. He'll find a way to mess things up. He'll try to do one thing and the opposite will happen probably. But I love Booster Gold.
I
Hopefully, when he
love him.
gets back, they give him his own book. You know.
Maybe they will. Maybe like he'll play a really large part in it, and that'll give him that like kind of that buzz for a bit, and they'll give him a book. Maybe Dan Jurgens will write it,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
or at least
That
draw it.
that series that they did a few years ago. Another one of the books that drew us back in when things were pretty thin was that Blue and Gold book by
Yes.
Booster and Ted Cord by Jurgens and Ryan Sook, right?
Yep. Oh,
Yeah, that was a gorgeous book, and the book was laugh out loud funny.
such a
When
good book.
you put Booster Gold with Ted Cord, it's like Abbott and Costello. It's like Martin and Lewis. It's great, really is good. Okay, now there's a couple of books here that I did drop. Well, one I went back to because I wanted to see what the All In was all about, and that was Nightwing.
No.
Well, and I dropped it after 3 issues, and I will say, that, I'm not the biggest. I wasn't the biggest fan of Tom Taylor on Nightwing, but when you compare this current writer Waters to what he's doing with Nightwing compared to what Tom Taylor was doing, Tom Taylor is Shakespeare. This guy is a hack, and
Oh boy.
this book is bad, and
What's his name?
his name is, I think, is it Dan Waters? Again, I don't want to just call the guy a hack. I shouldn't have done that first
I
of
just
all.
wonder, like, I don't
But
know.
still,
I feel like DC. It's just not like the old days where DC had a stable of
Dan Waters,
great
yeah.
writers to pick from. Where now you get all these people you never heard of, and you're like, wow, who are they? What they do? Back in the day, God, it was they had like Jeff Johns, Mark Waid, Greg Rucka, Judd Winnick, Grant Morrison, and then you have like other ones, like smaller ones, like Will Pfeiffer, this one or that one, and intermixing with titles or Peter Tomasi,
And
so
Draco,
putting
right?
up the title. What was
Right,
that?
and Draco, right? Who
And
did
Draco.
Rainbow?
So
Yeah,
someone left the title, you were pretty confident someone good was going to pop up and
yeah,
take over. Now you don't even know who they are.
yeah, yeah. No, once he gave Beepus to the criminals in Bloodhaven, I said, "I'm out. I'm sorry. That's just dumb. I can't
Yeah,
read that."
no,
So I dropped that book. I gave that book. Yeah, that's one of the two books that gets an F. That's a
no.
failure. And unfortunately, I lasted till 17 issues, although I did not read issue 16 and didn't read this issue, but this is gone. I
Yeah, I
can't.
get it.
I
I get
love
it.
Wally. Wally's next to Superman and Batman and Spider-Man and Aquaman. Wally's up there, my 5 favorite superheroes, and I just can't. I cannot read this.
I
I know
know.
so
I get it.
what is
Hey,
this
you,
all?
you, you gave it the old college try. You bought
I
it for a
did
while.
17 issues, right? I didn't
Yeah.
just
It is just so
willy-nilly
like
drop it.
I've liked some stuff out of it here. Like there's little gems of ideas here and there, but it's really the delivery. I don't know. If someone asked me what was going on with that book in the last 17 issues, I really couldn't tell you.
No, it's Grant Morrison confusing. That's what I. That's
But at
what I.
least
That's how
I
I
don't.
describe it.
But it's like diet Grant Morris. It's not the same.
No, it's not.
Like
No,
I'd
he doesn't
rather
have
have
the
Grant
pedigree.
Morrison. I don't know. It's just something. At least Grant Morrison would give me like some coherent thoughts here and there, or cool dialogue occasionally, and cool moments. There's nothing like that here, really.
And Grant Morrison gave us JLA and All Star Superman.
Yeah.
So he's got a pedigree. This guy, I don't know what the hell is.
I mean, look, like Final Crisis is a mess, but there are some really cool moments in that book. Again, it's a mess, but like when Barry comes back is great. When you see Orion dead, and you have Dan Turpin, like, there's some cool moments, but it just doesn't make any sense, and it's frustrating. But Cy Spurrier is like trying to do that and not do. He's trying to be either Grant Morrison or Warren Ellis, and he's not doing it.
No, he's not doing it. Yeah, there's a young crop of writers now who want to be these like you said, Grant Morrison, Warren Ellis, Alan Moore, don't just be yourself and tell your stories, but don't try to and I just don't confuse your readers. That's the worst thing a writer can do is confuse
It's so yeah,
his
it's
or her
great. Yeah, so I
his or her
applaud you
readers.
gave it a shot, and I'm sticking with it because it's Wally, but and it's not like they haven't done anything. They didn't make him a murderer again or anything. Um, so that's good at least. I rather have this than Heroes in Crisis, but
But
I don't know.
you've mentioned in when we talked on the phone or texted that if this book fails, they may say, oh, well, we can't sell Wally. They may mothball him, or they may bring in somebody and do another like ridiculous thing with Wally. Let's
Yep.
make him a
Or
murderer
or
again.
or, or just bring Barry. They'll replace him with Barry. I hope that's not the case because like it does seem like everyone, which I knew back in the day, like most people, especially in the comics at least, prefer Wally. Now between the show and the movie, there was a lot more Barry fans out there than there were
Mhm.
prior to 2009. But Scott Snyder said it. Like you can just tell. Even Wade made comments about like most creatives kind of like Wally Moore. He was written at the best. He was the best written Flash. He is the best written Flash. He just
Right. Yeah.
is. Um, so it's hard not to gravitate towards this. I'm hoping that the book. I hope they won't like replace him or cut him off the knees, but um, you never know. He's getting love everywhere. He's in Justice League. He was in Titans for a while. They're doing stuff with him. They even put him in some of the little specials they have coming out. Um, so I'm hoping Spurrier is wrapping up his run at issue 25. I mean, I wish it was sooner, but I think it might be one of those like 25 milestone or so, or 24.
Hmm.
Um, and I hope we get someone else. And I hope, I mean, I wish it was Jeremy Adams, but I know it's not going to happen anytime soon.
We've talked about this. We think that and I think you might agree with me that maybe, but he might be exclusive though to Jeff Johns. I could see Peter Tomasi
I would
writing more
love
of it
it.
because he's written younger characters before. He's written, while he has, well, he's not younger anymore. He's still young, but he's not a teenager. But he does have a family. There's children, and Tomasi wrote the first two volumes of Super Son. So yeah, I can see him writing that book. I wish they would.
Tomasi's like the biggest underrated writer. He's so good.
Yeah, he really, and he was an editor too, right? Before he
Yeah,
started writing.
yeah.
Yes. So
I would
it's
love him on the book, but again, he just doesn't seem to be doing anything with DC. He's at Image with the whole Ghost Machine thing, but I would love that. I guess I guess I just tend to think of whoever who's there now is who they're gonna probably pick from, and that's not really great. So
hopefully they don't pick what's his name, Tom King.
yeah, keep the Toms away,
I mean,
and
Tom King already made a mess of Wally.
I don't know. I used to know the writer stable like the back of my hand there. Other than Wade Adams, um, the Toms. Like I don't know a lot of. I don't know these new guys that you're talking about that I don't think they even know really that much. So
I
I will
agree. Yeah,
see.
I think you're
I
right.
mean, hopefully, and you never know. By the way, like stranger things have happened. Like they could call Adams back one day, and the stars could line up. Listen, he's co-writing Green Lantern Corps. He's not writing the whole thing.
That's right. That's a good point.
Like stranger things have happened. Remember they fired Mark Waid of Fantastic Four, and he was back like a month or two later because the
Hmm.
fans went bananas.
Well, maybe we should start a letter writing campaign,
Yeah, no,
yeah,
seriously.
some type of campaign.
See, I wish someone like Wade was like the EIC, and what would happen one day because they would just be talking, and he'd be like, "Yeah, take the book back."
Exactly. Okay, so there's a couple more here. Let's see. Oh yes, there's Green Arrow. I'm sticking with it. I started with it when Joshua Williamson, but this book is on the bubble though because this book could be leaning into the territory of Nightwing, where the hero and I get it. Ollie's always been when he's written properly. He's always the quote unquote lefty superhero,
Yeah,
and he's a man of the people, and he's always going to go after the big fat cats and the corporate, the corporatists and all that. I get that, the elitists, all those people, but there's a few things that happen not in this issue, but also in issue 20, which I didn't get yet, but I saw the review for it that kind of like, oh, I don't know about that. I mean, who's the villain here? So I'm not sure if this is going to last on my list, but so far, I think what I give that. I gave that a C. Yeah, I
Mhm.
gave that a C. So and oh, did we talk about Titans? No, right? I came back to Titans.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay.
This is
John
Jordan
Layman or something?
Layman and well, Acuna did this issue, but the regular artist I think is what's his name? Pete Woods, from back in the day. He had a run on Action Comics. That was what I
Uh,
looked up.
Serge Acuna, he drew that.
Yeah, so yeah, is it
I
Serge?
like him.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'll show you some of the artwork.
He does great stuff.
There's Killer Frost.
Oh yeah, yeah, I like his work.
Pretty good issue. This is I enjoyed this issue. I like this book so far. Dick has given up the mantle of leadership. He's turned it over to Donna, and they're arguing a lot for the first time because they've always been best of friends. So it seemed like a natural thing that would happen. And meanwhile, I don't know. We don't know what the hell he's doing in the lab, but Cyborg is doing something down there. They referenced it a couple of times, so he's probably coming up with something cool and brand new. But yeah, I gave that book a Titans. I think I gave it a B. It's a solid B.
No, that's okay. That's solid.
And here's something I came back to after many years: Metamorpho.
Oh yeah,
Number
yeah. How
two.
was that?
The first issue, I haven't read this yet. The first issue was very good. They're trying to recapture. It's even got the captions, and it's got the a lot of the dialogue is written the way it was in the '60s. It's very much a Silver Age book. They're trying to capture that feeling, and this is by Al Ewing and Steve Leiber. Is it?
Is that ongoing?
It's no, it's a miniseries. I'm not sure if it's 4 or 6 issues, but it's a miniseries. And I think they put it out because he's going to be in the Superman movie, right? So,
Yeah, and they're going to want to have trades and stuff too.
yeah, exactly. Oh, there's a DC Finest. This is the Aquaman one. There's a DC Finest Metamorpho coming out. I
Yeah.
got that in my. I pre-ordered that. It's the entire Metamorpho Silver and Bronze Age run in one book. So I'm looking forward to that. And I think that's all the DC stuff. And yeah, have we forgotten anything, Keith?
No, not
Oh,
with that. But they're doing a lot of new DC Compact this year too. A lot of
yeah.
exciting stuff for listeners. I'm not sure there might be stuff that you don't have, Joe. Like I don't know if you ever read the original Authority by Warren Ellis and then Mark Miller. They're
Read the
putting out
first
the
2
Warren.
volumes. Yeah, I read the first
Okay,
2.
oh, you have okay.
Yeah,
They're doing the all the Warren Ellis stuff in a nice $9.99
it's great.
mini com. You can't go wrong. Like it's great. Um, so that I think I think that's a great book, and I'm excited for that. They're doing New Frontier, Kingdom Come, a lot of the hits they're doing this year in those compact comics. So you should take a look and see if there's anything like you haven't read, maybe.
I think they're doing. They're also doing Judas Contract, I believe.
Oh, really?
Yes, they are. Yeah, and
That's cool.
I think that would be enough for the book. But I looked in the. I went to. I don't know if it was Amazon or I went to look it up, and you click on read more, and it gives you the issues that are the book is encompassing. And there's a lot of stuff that leads up to that I
Yeah,
forgot about, and some crossovers, plus
yeah.
two annuals. So it's enough to fill up a finest edition. And
I can
he,
see that. You're right because it was,
yeah,
they'll probably. I forget I haven't read it in years. I forgot the issue numbers, but I mean, there's definitely like that starting point when like Tara joins the team. I don't think when she's introduced, but like when she joins the team, like officially, um, yeah, and then it ends in the annual. I think.
now that book came out, what, 85, 86, the Judas Contract.
Yeah.
So I think the statute of limitations is more than past for giving out
Spoilers.
spoilers. I was in the Village Comic Art Shop on Thursday night. That's when comic books used to come out on Thursdays back in the 80s. I worked at 18th and 5th at Barnes and Noble. I walk down 5th Avenue about a mile through the park under the arch, past all the skells and geeks that were in the park at the time, and I go for my comic books on Sullivan Street. And I'm standing on line getting ready to pay for it, and there's a guy in front. He opens up that issue of Teen Titans. Oh, yep, yeah, it's Tara. She's the one.
Oh,
And like everybody in the store groaned, and I think there was almost a fist fight. One guy got really, what's the matter with you? It's like, oh man, oh, that was a moment that I'll never forget.
oh,
That was one of my bad comic book moments. It's right up there with Heroes in Crisis
no. Yeah, that's so traumatizing. That
and
book.
Final Crisis. Yeah, But
There are times I want like it would be too negative, so we can never do it. But there are times I think I'd love to do like just a pick it apart review of Heroes in Crisis because it's so bad.
yeah, but that would presuppose that we would want to read it again.
Right. Well,
And I
I
don't
told you I've reread it a couple times because
see
like
you're a better man than I am. I've
I
read
just
it
want
once
to
or
like
two.
I see people arguing like some points online, and I'm like I have to shoot this down. And I'm like oh, I haven't read it in a while, so I got to like refresh.
Wow,
There's
I
so
don't think
much bad to that book, but yeah, I mean you don't want all that kind of negativity anyway. It's just too much, but it is it's the worst.
it's terrible. I read Final Crisis twice, and that's enough. The second time I read it in one sitting, still had no idea what it was about. But that said, Heroes in Crisis has got to be the worst thing DC's ever published.
I
Well,
think it really is.
as an event, yeah, we could call back to that Hawk Girl book
Oh yeah, awful.
from last year, 2 years
At least
ago.
that was like on the side. No one
Yeah,
really.
exactly. This was a major company event, and we got this is what and
I
we
think it
get
makes
Heroes in
sense.
Crisis.
Like you could put stuff aside for me, my biases, or even you can put stuff aside that's like a part of like how a lot doesn't make sense with respects to like the rest of like the Flash continuity. But just as a story, when you actually take all that aside, if you even told this story with new characters, it wouldn't make sense within the main plot, like the motivations. It
Yeah,
was so dumb.
no. From what I remember, it just was like it was head scratching, and it was just
Yeah.
it
And the
was.
message it gave at the end, like it wasn't like, yeah, you want to do a story about PTSD, but it wasn't like some uplifting story at the end. Like he's all right, he's gonna go to jail now. I'm like, oh great. Like
Yeah.
I don't think he gets it.
Well,
I'm not a fan of Tom. I mean,
I'm
the
not
only book
reading Tom
I
King's.
enjoyed from him was not because of him. It was The Human Target because Greg Smallwood
Oh,
is
Small was
a
always beautiful.
genius. His art is gorgeous.
If and when DC ever does a Legion of Superheroes book, I think he's the guy. He would be the perfect artist. Either him or you could bring back Ryan Sook, who did it with Bendis, but just no Bendis.
Totally. No,
But
I agree.
I think Small would be actually the perfect
Oh,
artist for Legion of
so
Superheroes.
good. He's so good. Like that's why I said I enjoyed that book, but only because of his art. Like I'm not even kidding. Like a 4-year-old could write a story, and if he illustrated it, it would be amazing. So
Yeah,
good. Like I was like it's like George Perez in the way where I was just like staring at the art like for a long time. Like I wouldn't get to the next page yet. I'm like, it's just gorgeous. Like how he draws everyone and all of like that 1950s, 1960s look, like very Darwin Cookish.
yeah. Darwin Cook or Chris Samney,
Yeah.
or before then the guy who put Alex Toth, who
Yeah.
adore his artwork.
I wonder if Greg Smallwood came from animation like Darwin Cook.
Yeah, you know what? You think I never thought that before, but that makes sense because when you're doing storyboards, you're storyboarding the script, the action that's going to be shot, right? So you're not going to be too detail oriented in what you're putting down on paper, but you have to get the point across of what's happening in that scene.
Yep.
So that's what you're zeroing in on, and that's what this book, Batman and Robin Year One, looks like.
Yeah.
It looks like a storyboard. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. I mean, DC once this thing sells, they should just, give it to Jeremy Adams, have him do the adaptation for it, and make it an animated film. I just,
Absolutely. They did. Yeah. I can't wait. I mean that it's gonna be a great collection to own too. They'll do
oh
like a
yeah,
nice hardcover.
they'll probably do two soft cover trades. They'll do a hard cover. They'll do a deluxe edition or whatever they call it.
But yeah, something like it's gonna be like an evergreen thing.
Yeah,
It'll
it
be
should
public
be.
forever because there's not an updated version of like their Batman and Robin's Year One together. So
Oh, I just saw a book we didn't talk about on my list. I only read the first issue and I dropped it after the first issue. And that's Absolute Superman. Have you continued to read that?
I'm still reading it. It got better after the first issue. It's not great. So if I wasn't loving Absolute Batman and Wonder Woman, if Absolute Superman was just its own book and nothing else, I wouldn't continue. But I
Hmm.
love the other two. I enjoyed it enough, and I love the other two enough. I want to like I'm so into the other two, and I'm looking forward to Flash so much that I'm like I just want to be in this universe. I want to know everything right now. Um, so I'm enjoying it enough to stay. But again, if it was a self-contained thing, it wasn't a part of this world. I probably wouldn't. I probably wouldn't read it. The art's beautiful though.
Yes, that's well, I can't think of his name now.
It's,
Drugs.
Ren. I can't. I forget. Randolph Salva. I'm butchering it.
Yeah,
Poor guy.
yeah. And I butcher these names all the time. You know, it's a far cry from Denny O'Neil and Neil Adams.
I think people like people like the book. I'm just yeah, I enjoyed it enough. Like it got better. That first issue, I understand why you didn't care for it, but it got better. But it still has like the sprinklings of the things you don't like. So I wouldn't tell you to pick it up again. Um, you don't really have to. You just even when they meet up one day, if they do like their crossovers, they'll explain
Oh
whatever
yeah, yeah.
has happened to him since then, or Um, but yeah, I am still reading that. Um, looking forward to obviously Flash. I'm looking forward to Martian Manhunter. I don't know about Green Lantern yet, absolute version.
Yeah, I'm just going to be picking up the Absolute Flash. I'm going to pass on Absolute Green Lantern and Martian Manhunter. The
God,
writer,
fingers crossed. I hope
yeah,
Absolute Flash is good. I really do.
I'm not a fan of the writer who's doing who'll be doing Absolute Martian Manhunter
Oh, you
because
told me that. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Denny's Camp, and he's like his Ultimates book. I tried it and it's just
I read that too. You're right. I'll give the first issue a shot. But well, maybe we'll see. But Green Lantern, I'm kind of on the fence with. But um, I'm psyched for Flash. I hope it's good. I really love the
it's
idea of it.
it's nice though, considering what we were talking about before. About 3 or 4 years ago, there was not much to choose from. Now we have, at the bottom of this page, I wrote down non DC books. And I think we mentioned at the beginning Flash Gordon, Geiger, Redcoat. I'm reading Dick Tracy, Rockefellers, Rook Exodus, which is on hiatus now. Um, I love Redcoat. I love that book.
Oh,
It's, it's kind of like Booster Gold meets
Han Solo, it's like,
Han Solo and a touch of the Punisher, maybe. I don't know. It's
uh,
just so strange, but it's so good.
like I think that's my favorite Ghost Machine book. But then something then that Geiger issue is just amazing, and I'm like, I kind of want to choose, but I think I just love that character so much. Like Simon Pure is like I love him. Um, yeah, I love the Ghost Machine books. I think they're fantastic. I'm so excited. I'm a big. I can't wait to see when other stuff comes up and they all tie together. I think it's going to be
Hmm.
like it's one of those things that just comes together so well.
I think they came out today, Geiger number 11. I think it hit the stands today. Yeah.
I
So
gotta
it's
look. I
probably,
gotta look. I have like
probably,
a.
it's probably in
I
my
don't buy
cart
that
right now in
physically.
DCBS.
Oh
Yeah.
really? I don't buy it physically, so I have it on my Amazon thing. So when they come out, it automatically drops in my Kindle. So I gotta take a look. I buy the trades later, but I buy the monthly digital. Such a good book. Geiger and yeah, Red Coat. I haven't read number two of Hyde Street yet. I have to read that. I dropped Rook. I know everyone likes that, but I
Yeah, I
just
enjoyed Rook Exodus. I did. I like the Jason Fabach artwork is
oh, he's
incredible.
amazing.
Yeah. Have you have you
And
have
like
you tried Rockefellers yet? I've read the first two
no,
so
I
far.
haven't. I have to.
It's basically the Fantastic Four meets the Legion of Superheroes because they're time travelers from the 25th century and they come back to present day 21st century and shenanigans abound. So yeah.
I have to. I haven't been reading this much in years. Like buying all these, that's a lot. Like again, like the DC stuff and then this stuff. I will say it's crazy that I don't think either one of us are reading any Marvel.
Yes, the last Marvel book I think we both read, we both dropped it, was Ultimate Spider-Man, right?
Yep.
I have issue 12 over there. I haven't read it yet. I saw it reviewed by a number of podcasters, and I said I don't want to read that. It's 22 pages of people just talking to each other at a Christmas dinner.
And not
I'm
even
sorry.
good. Not like Bendis. Like Bendis dialogue, maybe not at DC, but man, at Marvel, my favorite issue of Ultimate Spider-Man ever was just so it was Peter and
Mhm.
MJ in the bedroom talking. He tells her he's Spider-Man. It's just a great. I love that. It was great dialogue.
Yeah,
But Hickman's a great idea, man. But he doesn't write great dialogue. The
no, he
book's
does
not even
not.
about Peter.
What's that?
The book's not even about Peter. I don't even
Yeah,
care about him. You know.
yeah. It's more. The book is more about Uncle Ben and J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah,
So it's
it's so weird. Like
yeah. I know he's world building, he's setting things up, but after 12 issues, man, when you get to the 12th issue, you got to have some type of climactic, event.
you know,
It's a
you know,
comic book. It's superhero
people
comic
world
books.
build all the time
Yeah.
and still spotlight their character. Look how much world building James Robinson did in the first 12 issues or 6 issues, even of Starman, you
Yeah.
know,
We
but
covered
you
that.
still
That's
had the
right.
lead in there doing stuff the
Hmm.
whole time. But no one's, God, you know, honestly, like no one's done more world building than freaking Robinson did in Starman. That book was like a real place, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Opal City, yes.
yeah, and I mean, you knew the cops, you knew the other heroes, you know, Bilbo, you know, the guy, the Bobo Benetti, you know, you knew everyone, and but Jack still shined, and even if you had one issue where he wasn't in it at all, maybe if it was like a villain issue or a times past, but you know, it was still as it was amazing. It was so well done, and it tied into stuff going on now. It was all, like you always say, there was no fat to the story. It was all there
No,
for a reason.
it's all there for a reason, definitely. Yeah. That's what, 80 issues, right? 80 plus issues?
Yeah, 80 plus. Yeah, like there was a zero issue. There was a couple of one shot, but yeah, 80 plus.
And that
I love
zero
that.
issue was the first issue because yeah, that was the launching pad for the series, the zero issue, right? Because it came
Yep.
right after some event. What event? What did that
A
end up
zero
being?
hour.
0 hour. That makes sense. Okay, there you go.
And
Can't track these things.
funny enough, is Jack's first appearance is in zero hour, in
0 hour.
number
That's
four.
right. Yeah.
It's just funny because like he's
Batman's.
drawn by, and I love Jurgens, but like, yeah, I guess he was probably just given like a very whatever description. He's like how he looks in that is like he's just not the Jack we know. You know what I
No, he's
mean?
not.
He's
No,
definitely
not.
more heroic looking. He's like bigger. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it doesn't look like Tony Harris drew. Right.
Even Impulse, like I always find, but that wasn't really that wasn't a Jurgens thing really. That was even when Wade first introduced Impulse with Mike Wieringo, he was like, and then like Salvador Larroca later, he was a bigger character and like like acted older in a way. He didn't act younger until the Impulse series really,
Mm-hmm.
which I love that. That's my favorite when he's younger and more fun and like comedy. But you read that you know like Terminal Velocity and the stuff leading up to it and everything. He's more like a Kid Flash
Who was the initial artist on that series? Because I know Ethan Van
on
Sciver
Impulse.
came in. Yeah, Van Sciver came in later on, right? Or was he the
Yeah,
original artist?
Wade and Ramos.
Yeah, right. Umberto Ramos,
Yeah,
who went on to do a lot of Spider-Man
a
years later.
ton.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's right. That's right.
he
Forgot
fit
that.
Impulse perfect.
Oh, yeah, he did. He really did. He gave him the
Well, you had
gigantic.
Van Sciver, you had a bunch of people on the Impulse. Consider, considering Impulse was a Flash sidekick, basically, he went 89 issues, and he didn't get canceled because of like sales. They just canceled it because they were going to make him Kid Flash in Jeff Johns' Teen Titans book. That's it. You
Mhm.
know, 89 issues plus specials. That would
Good
never happen
run.
now.
No, there's nothing. I mean,
You get Aquaman to go that long, or Green Arrow. You know,
yeah. No, I mean, Batman is hitting issue 158 with the start of Loeb and Lee. But then that'll be 6 issues, and boom, it's going to get restarted again, another volume at number one. And, Superman's only up to is going to issue 25, I think. Why isn't Superman? I mean, the Action Comics in the 1000s, Detectives in the 1000s, Batman and Superman. Just put the legacy number back on the book and stop with this, constant volume. I understand the number ones. They want to sell variant copies, and that sells a lot of books. I get that, but it's people are starting to just like get a little bit
I
tired.
especially
I'm
wouldn't do the
tired
you
of it.
know if you're gonna do like the legacy thing and the legacy numbering, like do it for like the anniversary issue and then go back, like because it's confusing for anyone trying to buy back issues.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Thank God I have
If
them
you try to
all.
like even like if I try to explain to someone, like if I let someone borrow my like DC Universe app or the Kindle, you know, like I give them the login and trying to explain the order to read certain things is really annoying. I can't just say read, you know, issue, 550 to 750. I got to, when I remember when I got to tell someone to read the Brubaker Capra on it, I can tell them, the 2005 series number one, but then it goes to like 500, and then you got to read, the Cap Reborn miniseries, and then there's a one shot, and then you got to go to this, and then you got back to the regular numbering. And honestly, you could tell when like I've told people that you can tell even when you start getting into that rabbit hole, they kind of lose interest.
Yeah, we've spoken about this before. If you go into Barnes and Noble or if you go into a really good LCS and you look at their manga wall and how things are laid out, starting from volume one going all the way across, whether it be One Piece or give me a few other ones here.
Hmm.
He says, I'm not that way. My Hero Academia, which I think is ending, by the way.
Hmm.
And the manga actually does end at some point, unlike
Yeah, right, right.
Western comics. Uh, so yeah, no, yeah, I don't want to end on a down note because
No, totally.
I think what we've done here is I guess if we had to give, what would you give a grade to this so far? What would you give a grade to?
Well, to the whole initiative,
Yeah, the whole issue.
honestly, the whole initiative, I might be giving it a little higher because for a number of years I was very unhappy with,
Hmm.
whatever, like 8 years, 9 years. But right now I would give DC All In as a whole. And again, I'm not reading everything, but like how I feel about it and the ones I'm reading, and there's like the vibe and the feel of the characters. Yeah, I would give it like an A minus, the whole vibe.
So I was thinking B plus to A minus. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
I
really,
think so.
and I'm also really excited about future things, not just the absolute books that are announced, but what we'll possibly get in the main line. Like, I'm really optimistic. I'm hopeful we'll get a Hawkman book, a Legion of Superheroes book.
Hmm.
And then you always
Booster
hope for
Gold
like,
book.
what book?
Booster Gold.
Oh my God, yeah. Or
Anything on Booster.
and maybe, I don't know, this like sometimes you get like the surprise books you never even thought of. I love when you get something like that, like the Terrifics or like Will
Yeah.
Pfeiffer's Hero or something that you weren't expecting, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, Joe, you're reading Hero. It's ridiculously good, or so I'm hoping we get something like that. Um, so yeah, I'm optimistic, and I also just like the feel of the universe. Like the directions of a lot of characters. So so even if a book's not great right now, at least they're not acting insanely out of character, or they're not dark and brooding. They're not doing the things I
Yeah.
don't like. So
Yeah. I mean, Absolute Power wasn't. It's a standalone event. It wasn't the greatest work of Mark Waid, but I think it did one important thing. It pulled the universe back together again, as
yeah,
you just mentioned. So it seems like a more cohesive DC universe now, and there are there's things crossing over, little things happening in one book that get mentioned in another book. So
but
that's
not in a bad way.
not in a bad way, exactly. So I think Absolute Power for that. I think if that was the main reason for doing it, then it was successful because it
I
pulled.
think you're right. Actually, I think ever since Death Metal, it just felt like
Oh God, definitely.
madness. Everything, and I was enjoying a lot of the books, but like it just felt like nothing made sense. And I'm not saying necessarily all even does now, but it does feel like it. Everything feels more uniform. It
Hmm.
feels like even if there's a contradiction here, which there always has been at DC since Crisis or even before, it just
Yeah,
feels
before.
it feels more um, it feels like there isn't that issue anymore. It feels good, like you said. Everyone like the characters sound like themselves. They're interacting. They're referencing stuff. I think a portion of that has to do with the Justice League and how the big banner it has going now. Even though some
Hmm.
of those books, who knows if they're really good, but it does feel good that it feels like one place again.
Yeah, it does. It feels like one cohesive universe again. So that's good. And let's hope it continues. I think it will. As you mentioned before, we have the Summer of Superman coming, so we can look forward to that. There is a Starman book on the horizon, correct?
Yeah, it'll
Look
be a,
forward to that.
Black Label miniseries.
Cool. All right.
I think three
And
parts or
speaking
four
of
parts.
Black Label, the Superman, Lex Luthor, Mark Wade, Brian Hitch book 2 and 3 have been solicited.
Oh, I can't wait. I
I've
love the
ordered them
first.
both. They're reprinting Volume 1 because it's been over a year. Get people up to speed with that. And 2 and 3 are coming out within, hopefully by the end of the spring or maybe early summer. We'll see number 3. Maybe.
Oh, good. I love the first issue. That was great.
Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah, Brian
Yeah,
Hitch is
yeah,
just.
a big fan. So yeah, I can't wait for that.
People talk about Jason Fabok, and rightfully so, and Gary Frank and Oy Jimenez and Dan Mora, but yeah, Brian Hitch has been around for a long time. And he's a damn good artist. I mean, look at what he's doing with Redcoat. That's just amazing. So,
He's done some great stuff. The Authority, the Ultimates. I love that JLA Heaven's Ladder he did, that oversized Wade book.
oh yeah, that's great. I forgot that. Yes.
Oh,
Oh
I
my
love
God,
that
what a
book.
great book
It's
that
like
is.
they kind of nicknamed like what his style was years ago. He did the Authority, and then
What they
the
say?
Ultimates, like widescreen, like comic books, like a movie, a
Yeah, yeah.
widescreen movie.
Widescreen. Yeah, I'm trying to think of if I can pair him up with a particular artist. From I get a Neil Adams vibe because his stuff is quite kind of realistic, and his characters are not overly huge. They're
Those are real
slim.
people. Yeah.
They look like real people, and that's what Neil Adams brought to comic books. He was the first artist to really bring that to comic books. They don't have to look like they stepped off of or Greek gods and goddesses. So, but
He did some issues on the regular ongoing JLA with Wade too. He did some of my favorite issues.
yeah, yeah. So,
He did number 50, which was great with the whole when Bruce reveals his identity to like the newer characters on the team. It was really good.
forgot that. Yeah, yeah.
Like his
So there we
redemption
go.
for Tower of Babel.
So do we? I think we covered everything, right, Keith? I don't think we left anything
Yeah,
out.
unless you have I have a recommendation. I don't know
Oh,
if you
go,
do or.
please.
Oh well, it's not okay. It's not comic book related. Well, I have a recommendation, and I also want something I want to show you.
Well,
But
I have a non-comic book recommendation. I think it's going to be the same one as yours.
no, it won't be
Okay.
actually.
All right.
Yeah, Trevor. So my recommendation is a TV show on Apple called Severance.
Oh, okay.
It's back for its second season. I watched the first season when it came out. It is so good, and it's getting better and better. The concept's crazy, and it's hard to explain, but man, if you get a chance, I got to send you that link, Joe. But Severance is so good. You got Christopher Walken, John Turturro. It's got a bunch of other actors that from things like I forget their names. Crazy concept, but I'll sound like a maniac if I try to describe it because it's just whenever I do, I'm like, okay, stop. But it's so good. It's definitely in that like sci-fi kind of like world. I think you'd really enjoy it. I can't recommend Severance enough. It's on its second season, and they're short seasons. The first season was 9 episodes. They're up to the 4th or 5th episode. I think the 5th episode drops Friday. So if anyone's got get a chance to watch it, Severance on Apple. It's so good. And the funny thing, it's getting big because I was on Instagram before. This is crazy because I work in the city like a few times a month now, and I go into Grand Central. That's why I take the train to there, and it's like very close to my office. But I wish I would have saw this when it was happening, but apparently I saw the video. I'll send it to you from Instagram. Ben Stiller brought the cast of Severance, built the offices the show takes place in an office for this company called Lumen. This odd environment, it's how the people are. They're very dry personalities, and it's this big mystery. They built the office in Grand Central Station, and the actual cast, is just sitting there pretending to work, not even paying attention to everyone looking at them.
That's great.
And it is amazing. I'm just like I didn't know it was that big. I thought it was more of it is still a smaller show, but I was like, I'm like, how did I miss it? It was just recently. How did I miss this? But yeah, Severance is a great show. I really think I recommend that to anyone who's looking for something new to watch and wants something different to watch because it is different. It can be a little confusing, but it's not like Lost confusing, Joe. Because the mysteries are pretty central to the main plot, so you're not and there's no there's not really any flashbacks or anything, but it's central to the main mystery. Everything naturally comes from that mystery. Okay. There's nothing confusing about you want to know the answers, but it isn't over the top kind of answers, But I think you'd like it a lot.
I'm going to definitely check it out, and I think you know what I'm going to recommend.
I have an idea.
Yeah, and Dexter Original Sin. Wow!
Oh.
Holy cow! The last few episodes have been so much is going on, and it's like you don't know where to start if you want to talk about it. But I've talked about it extensively. All I can say is if you those are faithful listening, if you've never watched Dexter, this is a good place to start.
The whole season's been great. The last 3 episodes feel on par with the original series.
Yes, they really do. Yeah. So is this Friday the finale? God, that drops at midnight, right?
Okay, so it never. This is a funny thing. It never did before because you know me, I'm a psycho. I checked.
Yeah,
I'm a nut. But last, I'm nuts with that. But the last Friday, Thursday night, whatever, I was at my girlfriend's house and we were watching something else. Landman actually was a really good show. And when it ended, we were on Paramount. It was it was a little after 12. And I'm like, I was going to go to bed, but I'm like, let me just look. And it was on there. So of course I watched it. But yeah, so I'm gonna check midnight tomorrow night.
Well, I was just thinking about that, and I wouldn't, and then I don't think I'd fall asleep if I started.
Have a cup of coffee, maybe take a nap during the day.
But I will definitely watch it with breakfast. No, I think I'll watch it after breakfast because the last two episodes have been. Yeah,
Yeah,
when they
yeah,
when
yeah.
they opened up that container car in
Oh,
episode 9, holy cow, man! You
there
could
were a
never.
few
You could.
parts like this is. I
Wow.
think I was eating once when something happened, like in an early episode. I'm like, all right, putting that down.
I'm glad I had my breakfast first because I don't think I've been able to eat. But that was. I mean, I understand why they did it. It's you. This is informs who Dexter is. He was there as a 3-year-old. Uh, and the stuff with Brian, his brother. Wow. Oh man.
And just so like the listeners know, we're definitely going to do hopefully soon a an episode about the entire Dexter Original Sin series,
Yes.
our review.
And then in the what is it, in the summer, Keith, we get Dexter Resurrection.
Middle of June, we get Dexter Resurrection,
Holy
which
cow!
you know, big news. We have Uma Thurman added to the cast and Peter Dinklage from Game of Thrones.
I just saw the other day. You sent it to me. Yeah.
This is going to be
Wow.
nuts. Like this is going to be those are great. Peter Dinklage and Michael C. Hall together are going to be. I don't know if you ever watched any Game of Thrones with him, but like I'll send you a video. I don't think you watched the show, but like I'm
Mm,
not really. I know it's not really your thing, but I'll send you a compilation on YouTube of just like his best moments, his like acting moments,
mhm.
and without even knowing the plot, you'll just see how great he is. Like he's such
Yeah,
a
you
good
can definitely
actor.
see that.
That's the idea of him like sparring with Michael C. Hall. Ah,
Oh my God. Yeah, it's gonna be great. And we still don't know how Michael C. Hall is gonna be. What they're gonna, we don't want to give away too much.
yeah, but
If
yeah,
you
we'll,
haven't
we'll
watched
definitely do that show soon.
Dexter New Blood, which takes place after season 8 of Dexter, but at some point, if you're a Dexter newbie, you're gonna be able to sit down and watch Original Sin, all 8 seasons of Dexter, and then Dexter New Blood, and then Dexter Resurrection, and then I don't know, Dexter
I
goes
will
to
say
Disney World.
I personally wouldn't watch the prequel until after it's because that first season hits more when you don't know.
Yeah, yes, exactly what's going on now. Yeah, because it's like, wow,
And also, it would actually the beginning would actually spoil New Blood even. So, but yeah,
this is true. That's right. It's a good point. Yeah,
and
yeah, I didn't
Clive
think of that. You're
Clive
right.
Phillips, like he said it, we're getting multiple seasons of each show.
I just bring
Like
it on, man.
bring it up. Like these are like I was looking forward, obviously, to the original Sin, but it surpassed my expectations.
Oh yeah, yes, it did. It's just ramp every issue, every episode seems to keep getting better and better. And the last thing I want to say about Dexter Original Sin is that Christian Slater should be nominated for an Emmy
He's great.
for his portrayal of Harrison Morgan because he's I think he brings the whole thing together because of the past the times past scenes and then the current day. He's an amazing tortured man in this series, and
And
he's
in
trying to
some
hold.
ways, it's his show. You know,
Yeah, yeah, it really is. He's
it's
trying to
great
hold
to
everything together.
finally really see a lot of it of the Harry character too. Like
Hmm.
we all love Harry. We
Oh
didn't get
yeah,
enough.
yeah, definitely. Okay, so we're
Yeah.
gonna land this plane now, right? I guess
Oh yeah,
so.
I want to show you one thing. I
Oh, good,
one
good. Okay,
show and
okay, good.
tell thing quick. I my birthday about a month ago almost now.
Oh, that's right.
I ordered myself a little something. I don't really buy stuff like this anymore. But I saw it. I've never seen this particular thing before. Um, and there's not a lot of Justice League Unlimited merchandise out. This is relatively new. Um, and I didn't take it out of the box yet, but you can see it anyway. But um, it is they did those statues at the time. I used to have like a couple of them with all the characters just standing,
Mhm.
which was great. I had them lined up on top of my entertainment center, but they never made a flash one that was running. So I
Oh,
got this. I don't know if you can see it.
oh, holy cow! Look at that.
Really nice.
Wow. Oh man,
If you look at the back, it shows even like you know
nice.
really
That's
nice, like a little like a PVC statue. So it's not like it's not too heavy. But yeah, it's really nice. I got a little birthday present to myself because I
yeah.
got excited when I saw one. It's relatively new, and he's actually moving. I don't know these flash statues where he's not in motion. It's kind of weird to me.
Yeah, which is what the reason why the comic book stinks because the comic book
Barely runs.
it barely runs. How could you write a Flash comic with the guy not running? That's great. That's a great statue, Keith. That's great. I mean, Again, we'll try to land this plane. And
Yeah,
what I want to say is, first of all, hopefully we got some people interested in some of these books. And if so, please run, don't walk to your nearest LCS to get all the business you can give them, and check out some of these books. I think you'd like them. I think you'd enjoy them. Obviously, I think Keith and I, if we were going to recommend one book off this list, it would be Batman and Robin Year One. It's just an amazing comic book. If you like Batman, you're gonna love this book. But there are other great things here to check out. Um,
absolutely.
once again, thank you for joining us and listening on. And Keith, thank you for being here tonight
Thank
and
you. As always, a
hosting this with me.
ton of fun.
Yeah, these are always fun. We always have a good time. So you can find us on Instagram, and you can find us on Spotify, and like and subscribe. And please, 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 please leave some comments, good or bad. We don't care. Just, hey, Joe, you're an idiot. I don't care. Yeah, how can you say that about Nightwing? But no, uh, it's not Nightwing. Nightwing's a great character. It's the people that are writing him, especially the guy that's doing him right now. But yeah, no. So we appreciate any and all feedback, and and you guys becoming subscribers. We'd love that, and we love you guys, and we love doing this for you. And there's going to be more coming. We'll probably do these updates every 2 or 3 months, maybe 4 months, Keith. Well, and maybe the next time we do it'll be the Summer of Superman. Maybe
Oh yeah,
we do it. Yeah, right. Might be a good time to do
it'll
it.
be warmer out.
So once again, I know it's winter and there's a lot of snow, so stay warm, stay dry, read some comics, and have a good time, folks. And I'll see you in the next one.
Good. Thank you, everyone.